Dr. Wolter, Wolter Chiropractic and Wellness. I'm here with Roger. He is my personal trainer. I've been working with him for a couple of years. Today's topic, we're going to talk about coming out of quarantine, lean and mean. Roger, how long have you been a personal trainer?
My first certification was in 1993, so okay. 27 years now.
I wasn't going to do the math on that, but it's a little while. So what is, for people who don't know, what is personal training?
Personal training is working with a personal individual, someone that gets to know you, your body. A lot of us have different injuries, aches, pains, as well as what your personal goals are. Okay. And a personal trainer is someone that can communicate with you directly and help you get on the path to what you deem as Todd's perfect body, where Todd wants to go as an individual with his health and fitness.
Okay, love that. Why did you become a personal trainer? What about it? Why did you get into it? Give me a little bit of your history of it.
I think I've always been an active person, athlete. My family, my father is 77 years old, still works out 3 times a week. It's always weights in the basement, and then high school athletics, the weight room there. And it's just, to me, the body, what it's capable of, and the mental stimulation as well it's a personal challenge. And so that's why I enjoy it so much. This isn't about anybody else, but for me, what I want to look like, what I want to see in the mirror, how I want to feel. And that's why, in my opinion, it's just awesome. It's yours.
Yeah, definitely a lot of sense of personal accomplishment with it. For me,
for sure.
I was an athlete, in high school, played a lot of sports, went to college, became a chiropractor, started having a family, a job, and I woke up one day, found myself in a place where I didn't want to be with my health. But I was really stuck. I didn't find the motivation actually on my own to get back into the gym. It was actually my wife who reached out to you. Yeah. I don't know if any of you maybe heard me tell this story. I actually received a gift certificate for personal training with Roger as a Christmas present. And I'm sure if there's a picture of my face opening of that, I probably wasn't the most excited about it. So, but it's probably one of the greatest gifts that I've ever received. Because it's a gift of health. It really, I love the progress that I've made over the years. We've been working out how many years now?
2.5. I was trying to think. Probably.
I think it's maybe a little longer. I think we're into the 3-year range.
Probably maybe 2016.
I think it'll actually be 4 years at the end of this coming year. So, I've made some great changes. Huge reduction in body fat, put on a bunch of muscle, but for me, really just that confidence thing back. I feel great. I can keep up with I got a 15-year-old son and a 17-year-old daughter. I can still kind of stay active with the 2 of them and do those things. What would you say is the biggest misconception about personal training?
Misconception is all of us are just super egos and we just stand over here, beat on you, and unfortunately, like in any profession, there's some that just kind of sign up, and there's those of us that take it as a profession. And I think the biggest misconception is I can do it by myself. I don't need a personal trainer. And in my opinion, a true personal is we keep you safe, we treat you good form, we're there to help with accountability, and you build a relationship other than just that 30 minutes or an hour in the gym. It becomes a partnership towards the betterment, and certainly, as you mentioned, your mental state, physical state, just overall feeling better about yourself.
Yeah, I love that. For me, there are many mornings that, we've got a 5:30 start or a 6 o'clock start where, if I didn't know he was there waiting for me, it would be really easy for me to roll back over and just go right to bed, right? I don't have a superpower. I'm not, I'm like everybody else when it comes to that discipline. So, you hit the nail on the head with that accountability piece, right? Just knowing that someone's there, but they're there rooting for you, right? He's not, yelling at me or anything like that. And then just those, although I know a ton about exercise, I have a background in sports injury rehabilitation, so I'm super familiar with it. but you can't coach yourself,
No.
right? I don't think
Not
you
at
can
all.
coach yourself. Regardless, you could be the best golfer in the world. All the analogies, right? Tiger Woods, whoever, they all had coaches at every level, because you can't coach yourself. And so those little, I'm always amazed, even this far into it, those little detail pieces. We might be working on an exercise and you're like, nope, just move your arm this much, right? And the difference in how that feels, and then the difference that would have in your results, right?
Correct. Absolutely.
Not only the injury prevention, but the actual results and gains that you make. I look at it, I'm investing in my health. I want to get the maximum return that I can get from it. So, yeah.
Sure.
For you, what are some of the biggest things you've learned over your, 27 years? You kind of look at, so for me, like, put it in context, right? So, I used to have an office inside of Gold's Gym. I was inside there for probably 4 or 5 years. And there were a lot of young trainers who just weren't around for very long. They all, to me, it kind of looked like people who liked to work out.
Right.
They thought they would like to be a trainer, and it just didn't really translate. Now here's you 27 years later, still going at it, still loving it. What's that difference between, or what are some of those things you've learned over the years?
Well, one is just the passion. You get up every day. It's a continuous learning process. What I personally have learned is in regards to making sure I understand my clients' goals, what they want. And again, getting back to originally my statement of I have a certain look that I'm pursuing, I'm feeling, and yours may be different than mine. And I have to make sure I keep that in mind, or whether it be a female or a younger person, older person, whatever it is, that is yours. I need to help you get to yours. There is no perfect, ideal goal. It is what you want it to be.
Right.
And so I need to make sure I understand that, and we design a program and work towards what you're trying to achieve. And so I think that's the biggest thing, is understanding that there is no idealistic, no perfect end.
Yep.
Wherever it is we are in our journey, the end of the journey is whatever you need it to be, and it's my job to make sure you make progress towards that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I love that. We talk about that a lot around here, just your goals, right?
Correct.
It's not about my goals.
No.
It's not about Roger's goals. It's about what are your goals for your health, whether it's your chiropractic care here in the office, whether it's what you're doing with your exercise, whether it's what you're doing with your nutrition, which is a big part of exercise, right? What do they say? Abs are made in the kitchen,
Yes,
right?
yes, sir.
So, whether it's what you're doing with your stress management, your sleep, really any part of your life, the most important thing is, you got to have goals, right?
For sure.
I think if you don't,
For sure.
it's hard to hit that fuzzy target. So you got to get some goals, get some realistic goals. But you need somebody to kind of show you how you get there from here, right? Like if I want to go to the moon and I show you my cardboard rocket ship, I'm probably going to have a hard time getting there, right? And you're going to say, hey, if you really want to go to the moon, you probably need to get one of these real rocket ships to get there. Same thing with any part of your health. You need the tools to get there. You need somebody with that expertise to kind of show you how to get to that point. So with that in mind, we talked about coming out of quarantine lean and mean was the title of this video. Some challenges right now, right?
Sure,
the world
for sure.
got turned upside down on its head. For some of us, a lot of things going on, maybe having to work from home. Our gyms got shut down. Our fitness routines, our stress levels went up. Maybe doing a little bit of emotional eating. I know I got jumped on that roller coaster there for a couple of weeks myself personally. So if you look at maybe somebody, kind of give me a couple scenarios. Maybe the first one is somebody who had a pretty good routine previously, but they were just kind of maybe in the kind of where they were doing maybe some boot camps and things like that, and they never really had to figure it out themselves. What kind of things would you suggest for somebody like that to get started with?
Well, first and foremost, you mentioned the word routine. And that is the thing that we've got to stay focused on through this quarantine. Those of us that aren't working, or maybe you still are, if you aren't, still make sure you set that alarm clock. Get out of bed. Have your day planned and structured. Because otherwise, as you mentioned, and we certainly bounced around with the emotional eating, the just lay around in bed. Next thing you know, it's 9:30, 10 o'clock, and your back's sore from laying around in bed for so long. So stay structured. Set that alarm. have an idea of what time you're going to get up and work out. Do your best to hold yourself accountable. If you've been doing those boot camps and things like that, almost every gym out there, if you were at a gym, they're doing online videos. You know, I know the wellness Facebook page has some, you guys have been posting some things. Put it on your schedule, turn it on, and do the best you can. Right now, is there an opportunity necessarily to make great strides towards our goals? Realistically, probably not.
Yeah.
However, let's do damage control. Let's not go backwards.
Right.
Let's maintain ourselves. So do the best you can. Set the schedule, set the alarm, get out of bed, eat regimented as best you can, and set your exercise time and hold yourself accountable. Do something.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely noticed that myself. The first couple of weeks of this, you know, kind of going through that stress and change. The first time in my life where I didn't really have a reason to get up and go to work and do my thing, or a set schedule, you know, whether it was school or athletics or whatever. It's really the first time where I had this chunk where I was like, I don't have to get up and do anything. And I kind of fell into that group of like, well, I'm just going to lay in bed for a while. And then and my workout schedule got messed up and I was missing it. And it just, things weren't going really well. My son had recently started training with you as well. And so him and I decided, hey, we're going to just get up and do a morning routine. So we've been getting up at 6:30, 4 days a week, and putting in an hour or so of lifting in the basement. Fortunate to have a couple of free weights and things like that. But we've got a set of like TRX body weight straps. That's been a great tool to have to get some of those areas. Like you said, can't get everything done. You know, there's definitely some areas like with my leg strength where there's just not enough weights to keep up with that stuff. But just trying to stem the tide, so to speak, and so we can kind of get back into that routine. As you look at maybe somebody who has zero experience with working out, you know, but they're like, hey, you know, let's look at it from 2 points. Point one, what can I be doing right now, right? I don't know the difference between a push-up or a sit-up maybe, and I just don't know where to start. But I know, you know, on the news right now, one of the big things with this COVID-19 stuff is the people who are at risk are people who have comorbidities, right? High blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, right? So we always talk about, you know, these are chronic health problems, what we call chronic disease. Comes from that word consistency over time. Your health can be a chronic thing as well, right? So we want to talk about how do you become chronically healthy as opposed to chronically sick or chronically diseased. So where would I start?
Start, again, just by simply moving. You know, people don't realize that at some point, you know, antibiotics became a thing. Prior to that, one of the major, what doctors prescribed was exercise. Exercise stimulates the immune system. So if you're just starting, and it may, you know, start as simple as you can, you know, get out, walk. Okay, once you walk around a block, and if you're breathing hard, sit down. Tomorrow, try and go around a bigger block or twice. And start integrating a hill. You know, the parks are still open right now. Iroquois Park, here Seneca's got that nice hill. There's plenty of walking trails. Stay on flat surfaces depending upon your skill levels, but just move at this point. And then the next part of that is you've got time. People have time. Have a plan for when this changes. At some point, gyms are going to open back up.
Yeah, exactly.
Do a little research and see. There's a variety of different ways right now.
Right.
And we talk about time and So the next thing you know, the world opens back up and you've wasted all of this time when you could be doing a little bit of research. Maybe you want to do yoga. You know, obviously I believe in resistance training, strength training. Maybe there's some CrossFit out there. Do some research. There's a variety of different gyms. You've got a little bit of time and have a plan for ultimately when things open back up. And in the meantime, increase your water and start moving.
Love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, just get out, get walking. Everybody should know how to walk. I think it's something you learned when you were little, I think.
Yeah.
Body weight exercises are great,
Yeah.
right? If I've got a chair, I could do some chair squats, right? Come sit down in the chair and stand back up, or I could do some dips off the chair. If you have questions specifically, but like you said, if you were training somewhere previously, most of those things do have online programs. There's a ton of great free content out there. If there's something you're looking for, you can comment below the video. We'll reach out to you, help you find something that you like. I know Peloton, the bicycle people, they've made their app. You don't have to have the bike. They've made their app free. There's a couple other ones out there. I think some of the YMCAs are even putting out free content right now for people as well. I know we have quite a few great trainers from Orange Theory, which is way too hard for me. But I know they have some online content as well that they're making available. But I think, like you said, big stuff is just getting started.
Right.
I think one of the keys will be, how do I not end up where I was, right? I think one of the worst things that could happen with this whole situation is we go through it and we don't learn or change from it, right?
Correct.
Like, if you're like, man, I am at risk because I'm overweight, or I have high blood pressure, or I do have diabetes, or whatever it might be, and then you get to the other side and you just go right back into those old habits. So we can use this as an inflection point in our life to kind of say, hey, I'm going to start some new things, ingrain some of those habits at this point in time. So give me a couple of tips on like nutrition, right? Like, hey, what things right now, if I was looking to make a change in that, how do I start that?
Generally speaking, and Todd knows from when we first originally started, I'm a big hydration guy, water. There's studies out there that say 70% of Americans are chronically dehydrated. That's a big number. And then factor in 60% of that 70% mistake thirst for hunger. So if you find yourself hungry, feeling hungry, it very well may just be thirst. So I'm a big advocate of start increasing your water. And you do that by measuring it. We eat, ladies, 90 ounces a day. Men, we're at 128 ounces a day. And I've liked breaking that up into different time periods. When you start this and you're working, oftentimes your bathroom, your frequency increases.
So make sure you can't get away from your desk. Hopefully if you're working at home, the bathroom's not too far away.
Right, yeah. So if you're at home right now, it's a great opportunity to let your body acclimate to a greater intake of water. Skin gets better, energy levels increase, you're not as hungry. And again, I set my day up 128 ounces by the end of the day, 33 ounces by 10 a.m. By 1, I make sure, I just set my watch. If I have it all measured out at 10 o'clock, if I don't have my 33 ounces, and I'm just using the liter bottles, drink it. You can drink that pretty quickly. At 1 o'clock, I drink another one if I haven't finished it. By 3 o'clock or by 4 o'clock, my last one, I front load my day. So I'm 50 years old now, so I don't have to get up all night, make those frequent bathroom trips. And so start doing water right now. And then the other part of that is really start writing down what you eat. There's 2 positions on a map that are important. One, where you want to go, but you got to know where you're at. So start making notes. Especially if you're at home. Figure out where you're at. And that allows us the opportunity to make subtle changes. Because if you try to go from here to here, it seems overwhelming. Maybe some of you have tried that before. You go in and a trainer, unfortunately, or one of your friends who think because, anyways, they tell you got to do this, this, and this, and it's just overwhelming. So figure out where you're at. Hopefully you choose someone that's knowledgeable and caring, and you make small, subtle changes. And as those small changes become routine, then we make additional changes. And then next thing you know, you're all the way down here, and it seems so easy. So that's my thoughts are hydrate and start paying attention. Start tracking your food. You got to know where you're at.
Yeah, I love that. So there's some great apps out there for tracking, MyFitnessPal, things like that. You can literally just take pictures on your phone, right?
Right.
And guess you can eventually get to where you're actually weighing out things.
Yeah,
That's something that happens in our house from time to time. My wife is a little better at it than I am. But you know, as you just kind of work through some of those things, I think kind of circling back, right? Like, you know, one of the things, whether we're starting working out, whether we're making some dietary changes, knowledge is power, but only when it's put in action, right? If I know something but I don't do it, it's not doing anything. So I got to take that knowledge. Now is a great time to get some knowledge, but then you got to figure out how am I going to put that into action. So I know you've done, since we've been working out together, we've had some conversations on it, which is something I'm a fan of. Some intermittent fasting. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on that.
At first, I really enjoy it. You know, intermittent fasting has been very successful to me. Holistic chiropractic care. I've been coming to chiropractor since I was 15 years old. I believe in that. So where intermittent fasting believes in giving your digestive system some rest. For about 15 years, I ate every 6 meals a day, every 2.5 hours. The bloating, very frankly, the gas, you know, it's just taxing to your digestive system. So intermittent fasting comes in. And I eat still close to 4,000 calories a day in between. My intermittent fasting time is between noon and 8 is my eating times. And it just gives me the opportunity. I don't have to worry about, I had to schedule my day around my food. And that's just crazy. And so intermittent fasting is a great one. I believe it works. 2, it's a great way to give your digestive system a rest. You can plan out 3 easy meals instead of 6. Or, gosh, you know, some of my buddies 7-8 times they're getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to eat. You know, it's just. But so intermittent fasting, I'm a fan of it. I know it works for me personally. I lost 10 pounds in the first 30 days I went to it. Just feeling better. And, you know, like I said, do some reading on it. There are some great things out there about it. It works better for my schedule, like Todd said. Instead of getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and eat breakfast to meet Todd at 5:30, I could get up at 5:15, meet Todd at 5:30, and then, you know, I don't eat until noon. So, and in the meantime, I'm drinking a bunch of water.
Yeah, some great stuff with it. Obviously, don't jump in. I think you were kind of talking about that when we get advice from friends or we just take something off the internet. I think one of the big mistakes when we are going to make the change is we don't fully understand it. I usually say if you got to ask yourself, is this something I can see myself doing for the rest of my life, right? Like, if you can't answer yes to that question, there's probably not a path worth going down. There's lots of variations in fasting, different windows, different styles, a whole bunch of alternating days, feast days, all sorts of things. You know, it's definitely something you want to have a coach, somebody to help you kind of explore. If you're not sure, do some reading. There's some great books. I've got a friend who wrote Fasting for a Purpose is a really great book if you're interested in reading one with those. So you mentioned chiropractic care for you. I know you've been under chiropractic care for a long time in your life. How do you see kind of the world of chiropractic and, you know, personal training or fitness fitting together?
It's, to me, they're completely mated. They're the body, you know, and it all starts with functioning healthy and without any types of issues. You know, I've come in here a couple times saying, hey, you know, I can tell something's not right, straighten me out. It just gets back to, again, if the whole thing with this COVID-19, to get back to this, the body is designed to heal itself. And if we can give the body what it needs and keep everything, all our systems and nervous system, spinal, respiratory, all of that healthy and functioning, and train it, exercise, then, you know, shoot, it's just, as Todd mentioned, we can keep up with the kids. We could get out there and still enjoy our lives well into the second stage of life for myself, for example. So
absolutely, yeah, right. I love that. That's a beautiful point, right? Like, we're designed to be healthy. I think when we go through a big scare like this, sometimes it's easy to forget that, right? Here's this virus out there that's coming to get us, But your body was designed to fight these things off. Even if it's a new virus, your body's designed to fight these things off. The key to it is keeping it healthy. So what does it take to be healthy, right? That really becomes the question. Well, it all starts with your nervous system, brain up top, spinal cord inside the spine, those nerves running out to all the different organs and systems. That's where your chiropractic care comes in. It's pretty simple, right? If your spine's misaligned, it's going to put pressure and stress on that nervous system. Stress is never a good thing, and it's going to have an impact on that. When you couple that with proper exercise, proper nutrition, proper sleep, proper stress management, you're going to give yourself the best chance of fighting off not only this virus, but any other virus that ever comes at you in the future. And so it's just about keeping yourself and your families healthy. If someone was like, hey, when this thing's over, I want to get into some personal training. I think I'm ready to kind of invest in myself and my health. How would they start? What would they do?
Well, I can tell you, Sonia approached. She got a couple different referrals, got some names, emailed, sent me an email, did some research, check into these people, look them up on Facebook, see if they have references. I think Sonia had requested some references, even though she was referred to by a mutual, who's Laura, who still is a client. And see, oftentimes too, the age group. Is it someone you feel, and Todd hit it beautifully, Doc hit it perfectly in saying, is this something you can see yourself moving forward with? And that's why I'm not a proponent of diet plans. We need to get an idea of something we can make small, subtle changes that are going to take and hold. So is this trainer someone that, one, shares similar goals or is willing to support you and what your personal goals are? And is it someone that can communicate effectively with you and help you along the journey? So I get references, do some research rather than just show up and say, hey, I want a trainer, because I can tell you, as a person that has had trainers before as well, for my personal goals, like you said, I still get coached. I've had some that have meshed well, and I've had some that, this just isn't a good fix.
Absolutely. Yeah, right. Like, I know everybody needs chiropractic care. I may not be the chiropractor for everybody, right?
Right.
Everybody should exercise.
Yeah.
You may not be the trainer for everybody, but if you were going to be their trainer, how would they find you?
Hit me up on my email, Get Fit with Roger, just all written out. Roger spelled no D, so just getfitwithroger@yahoo.com. I train out of Body Solutions. It's right beside Trinity High School football field, so you can look up Body Solutions on Facebook or on the web. But my personal email is getfitwithroger@yahoo.com.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, we'll drop some links under the video so that if you guys want to get in contact with Roger, we can do that. So thanks for talking with me, man.
Thank you, Doug.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
Good to see you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Look out for our next video. I'm not sure when this one's going to get posted, but just look out for the next one. And we look forward to seeing you guys soon. Thanks.